Hi, and welcome to Kaleidadope Tarot. I'm here with another deck because all my decks that have been waiting to arrive in the mail are all heading in at once, one after the other, and there's one more coming in. So this one is Kaleidadope Tarot by Krystal Banner, and there's a whole series of tarot and oracle decks, and you should definitely, absolutely check it out. It came in this holographic bubble wrap. There's holographic detail on the box, on the book, and the back too, and the best part we are going to get to. It is a beautiful box. It is two-sided with a something to help pull it apart. But I put them away. I have a spot all cleared out where my decks go. And the guidebook is amazing. So we're going to talk about it for a minute. So the print is small though. I need my glasses, which unfortunately are Shoppers Drug Mart glasses, so they're not perfect. Mostly because I need a different prescription for each eye, I'm pretty sure. So there's a dedication, an invocation, and a message from the author, and each card gets a page. It's not lengthy, but it's in depth. And so there are keywords for upright, keywords for reverse, a short card description, and then the symbols within the card, and the symbolism that Krystal Banner uses throughout the deck is consistent. And so you read it and you get it and you see it because it's consistent, and it draws back over and over again. This is oh, this is just delicious. I am a lover of rainbows. Some of my besties are also rainbow lovers, which is why I have these wonderful rainbow earrings. Rainbow lovers. So, let's get into this deck, because it is amazing and it is fun, and I should keep the book going somewhat with it because it's just going to prove to be worth it. I'm not going to read the guidebook to y'all, but sometimes I might pull a sentence out of it just because it's worth it, so that you want the deck for the guidebook as well as the deck. So here we have a bungee jumper. I've been bungee jumping, when I was younger and not in my mid-40s and more afraid of death. And so there's symbolism in the bungee cord and in the color of the bungee cord. And anyway, bungee cord, the length of the bungee cord gives plenty of room for error, but provides a layer of safety to prevent complete destruction. It allows the fall, yet prevents the crash. So I'm going to have to hold this without glare, which means I'm going to have to hold these. Okay. And next up, we have the Magician, and there's an explanation that is brilliant as to why you don't see the Magician. And we have this glow coming out of the hat, and these are one of the consistent elements to look for within this deck's symbolism. The glow symbolizes the magic within, in the sense that anything is possible. Sorry, it's chilly in here. I need to pull my sweatshirt down further to keep me all warm and cozy. We're having cold nights. It's February. It's the freezing moon, and it's freezing at night. It's like minus 20 something outside most nights. Okay, so here we have the High Priestess, and we have the symbolism of the night sky, and the galaxy, a universe, is also the color of the eyes. And these are some of the details that I wish I had some super fabulous camera to show you all. She talks about even everything is intentional in this deck. The hairstyle, she talks about why this particular hairstyle. And that's the thing about, we might know facts and concepts, or read a book or an article or a wiki page about another people and their culture and their understanding and their knowings, but we don't know. And this is the thing about, you can buy diverse decks. You can buy decks by Black, brown, indigenous people of color who understand what they're talking about when they're talking about their people. And it's different than any understanding we'll ever have. Something I know and recognize as an indigenous woman, that you know, the depth of our knowledge isn't something that can be learned in an article or even in a PhD, because our knowledge keepers have lifetimes of knowledge. You only know, you went and got a PhD in someone else's culture, you know what their 7-year-olds know. And this is one of the importance of, like, not thinking you've accomplished diversity by buying a diversity as created by Euro descent folks, because there's understandings that you're still just missing. And so then you only have concepts of others through your own eyes. And here we have the Empress, and the Empress is Beyonce, when Beyonce performed on stage pregnant with twins, and all the amazing Empressy feels and in-depth from that. And then symbolism and everything, we have the 12 stars for astrology up in here. Symbolism in everything. And we have the Emperor. So there's a depth in the color, and it impacts the symbols of those colors, and that is paid attention to throughout this as well. They're elaborate, mature, and regal to complement his energy. And here we have the Hierophant in a stained glass window. It talks about the various symbolisms that relate to these religious symbols, and how that relates to the Hierophant, which is often, or, you know, which in this case, or the High Priest in this case, which is, you know, often very orthodox. And so one of the reverse meanings is unorthodox beliefs, rejecting tradition, and stubborn. And so there's attention paid to detail in everything. And we have the lovers and the shades and the hues. Again, they're so important and they're so well done. And two of my 3 favorite colors are pink and brown. So I really love the shades in here in this lovers card. It makes me feel in love. And then we have the Chariot, which is a red sports car flying through the air, where it's unhindered by the traffic you would have on the highways. Why, if it's flying through the air, is it still a sports car? Because you drive these yourselves. Planes, which fly through air, we don't tend to drive ourselves. And in the Chariot, you are driving. Your will is driving. And here we have the Strength card, and we see, you know, the importance of every aspect. The yellowy gold here reminds us that this is a card represented by Leo. The art and the detail. I live in the forest. I know how dappled it is. It looks just like this. It looks dappled just like this. And that attention isn't just there because a forest is dappled. It's what does that dappling teach us and show us in that symbolism, which goes back to the hues and the lights and the glow of light and what that represents in this deck. And we have the Wheel of Fortune up in the sky. And again, we see skies represented consistently up in this deck. And the Wheel of Fortune is represented by a wheel that we all recognize as the Wheel of Fortune. And you have to spin that wheel if you want a chance to win. You don't know if it's going to go up or down, but you have to spin. And if you want to keep going, if you want to get to the very end, you have to keep spinning that wheel. And we have Lady Justice. A Black Lady Justice. I would trust this Lady Justice a whole lot more. A whole lot more. I can read this Lady Justice as justice. I look at White Lady Justice, and as an Indigenous person, I see nothing positive in those cards. I can't read positives in those cards. I can only read justice from the standpoint that I've experienced White Lady Justice in my life as an Indigenous person, as a scoop survivor. Most recently, 4-hour bail hearing, trying to get my land protector daughter out on bail. I can trust this Lady Justice. I can see everything I'm supposed to see in the Justice card. The positives as well as the negatives, and not just the negatives. The Hanged Man. Okay, I've been asked to do a talk about my journey trying to find decks I love. Because it's something I've talked about on my Facebook page, and I'm going to do it. I pay attention to where did a diverse deck place us. Are we Justice? Are we the Devil? Are we the Seven of Swords? Are we court cards? Are we as evenly represented in the majors as elsewhere? How evenly is your diversity? Is it 50% Euro descent and the other 50% a sprinkling of the rest of us? Because that's not how the world's made up. The world is not 50% Euro descent. Black, brown, indigenous people of color are the majority population in the world. They're just not the majority in control. You don't need to have a majority to be in control. You just have to tell people they're the majority. Death. Black and white. Chalk outlines. Symbols we recognize instantly. It's black and white. It's cold cut. And I love the symbolism she brought in the endings and beginnings. Like, the crime is the end of the murder, and then the investigation begins with the chalk outline. And then here we are up at Temperance. And we have the beach. Elements of earth, water, and air are instantly noticed when at the beach, and the woman is experiencing them all. And but fire is still here, and you can't see it on here. You have to get the deck to see it. The toenails are painted, and there's nail art on the large toenails. There is the triangle symbol for fire. And then for the devil, we have Pandora's box. We have that glow. We have the symbol of Capricorn. We have the flames, which keep you warm at first, but can burn you. Because some things are good, but too much is excessive and a problem. We don't see where the chains go, so we don't know who's really chaining them, themselves or somebody else, yourself or someone else. You know, you know. And then we have the Tower, and it was originally called the Burj Dubai, and then it became, you know, the Burj Khalifa after its completion. And my 18-year-old, who's my fourth child, he was fascinated with this tower, the tallest skyscraper in the world, being built as he was growing up. And he followed it consistently. You know, it was 4 and 5 and 8, and, you know, wants magazines and books and articles to read on the Burj Dubai, which became the Burj Khalifa. And then we see all the things we see in the tower, and representing it with the absolute biggest of these structures of power and all that. Yeah. Yeah. And there's so much involved in making that tower able to stand up. It can't do it on its own. There's so much involved in making sure it can be there and stand up. The star. I live up north. I see northern lights on occasion. I've traveled up far enough north to see them where it's like painted with a box of pastels. So incredibly bright. And I've seen them more in these shades, in the icy water, and it's gorgeous. The moon card. I hope you can see probably better from here. This is in shades of browns and taupes. The warmth of you still have this impression of gray tones and shadow and all that, but it's warm. It's warm. And we have the full moon, and, you know, all the classic symbolism. We have the silhouette. We see the woman's silhouette, which represents the shadows that are cast by the moon. There is something mysterious and secretive about shadows, and this also lends itself to the shadow side of our being. Everything's detailed. Everything that's there, the wide brim hat, all of it is there with purpose in this deck. The sun. The sun is embedded in the sunflower, and the color is done so well that you know that instantly. Yes, yes, the sun is embedded inside the sunflower. The Judgment card, we have the classic symbol of St. George in the horn, and then the shades and hues of the sky reflect these colors, and it is just really nicely written. The sky mimics the colors found on the flag, and a beam of light shines on the horn and flag to highlight the sense of renewed, being washed by a ray of light, positivity, and relief, seeing the light. And those are words I can get into a whole lot more than resurrection. And then we have the world represented by a passport in all these different places. And we have this glow again. Like I said, the symbolism is on purpose, and it's really well done because it's on purpose. Yeah, I really want to smoke again, so let's see if I can... Because you never get to do these in one shot. Life is just not that easy, steady, you know. Ace of Cups. The Ace of Cups is a dove floaty in a pool, and you know it instantly. You see it as it is, and as it symbolizes, you know, the way the water reflects in a pool is just different in its angles than it is in a natural body of water, and the color tones slightly different, and we see this reflected in this card, and I find that brilliant. And I love minimalism with attention to detail. Yeah, I love it. I enjoy it. So, we have the Two of Cups, which is cups of coffee. And again, I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'm just going to tell you a very little because it's brilliant. Coffee has a strong, distinctive smell which represents the energy of the connection. It's energetically strong and undeniable. And the use of coffee also touches on the process of brewing, and in the sense is defined by a mixture of events, people, or things that interact to form a more potent whole. It goes on, the foam, all of it. Everything's important, and the consistency and the realism and the everyday aspects of it is really what does it. Symbols that mean something actually to all of us. That's what this offers. Symbols that mean something to the actual all of us. VIP section for the Three of Cups, where you're having big, amazing, abundant celebrations. And, you know, the idea of, like, how does that play out in reverse? The Three of Cups are emptying. The VIP section is too full. It doesn't have that same connection anymore. And then we have the Four of Cups, and they're empty and being discarded because they're empty. And there's so much we can think about that. You don't have to discard them. Clean them up, fill them back up. And we have the Five of Cups, where we see the understanding of art so well represented throughout this deck. As an artist, Krystal Banner understands we are going to see the black cups first and the green cups second. That's how color theory, part of how color theory works, and it's done on purpose because this is how this cup plays out in life. We see the black cups before we see that there are green cups of growth also. And the Six of Cups, which is the childhood telephone game, but also, I didn't know this, called a lover's phone. And so we see the two sides of the Six of Cups represented in here again. And that gentle pink versus that, like, you know, maroon or bright red, or I'm going to get more on those colors. Okay, in the Seven of Cups, instead of 7 things inside our cups, we have 7 different cups. And attention is paid to detail. Each cup is designed differently with a different purpose, and detail in the symbolism of each cup's design and those choices that they represent for us. 8 of Cups. This is brilliant. We have an exit sign. We recognize this as an exit sign instantly. Even though there's differences in it, which are on purpose. We have 8 cups that you are moving away from and leaving behind and moving forward. 8 of Cups, leaving behind, moving forward. And we have the 9 of Cups, and it's the genie lamp. It's the wish fulfillment card in many decks. And 7 is like making wishes and not knowing. The 8, you know, it's fulfilled, it's come true. And there's discussion on the symbolism of the color. Maroon cups. The color maroon represents excitement, creative energy, desire, passion, and love, among many other things, because that's the depth and the range of the hues in the colors. And we have the 10 of Cups, and we see, you know, this modern take on classic imagery that we know and we recognize, and we see the use of color. The Page of Cups. The insight into, so the pages represent youthfulness, childhood in one way or another, as well as a reminder to us of other symbols that can be used in more adult ways. It has that versatility in it, and you know, all the symbolism right down to the fish and birth and fertility. The Knights. We have the Knight of Cups and consistent internal imagery within the deck that when we see armor on the Knight's arms, we know to think of them being protected and shielded and so on and so forth in one way or another. And the Queens and Kings are related throughout the deck. And in this one we have mugs, you know, because mugs are big and sturdy, and she gets into all of that symbolism there. And the Queen of Cups, and you know, I don't know that my phone or camera is good enough. We have a Black Queen and King of Cups from the cards, because you know what, you don't have to make everything just the way you always see it, because it's always seen that way on purpose for a reason. Oh, my earring. And the Queen of Cups is Sadie Adu, Nigerian, British singer, songwriter, composer, producer, the whole 9 yards. And then we get into the coins, and we have the Ace of Coins, because, you know, those are the medals, you win them, they are valuable, they are often connected to prizes and money, and the symbolism goes through the whole thing. The sky symbolism is consistent throughout the deck, that open, unheeded opportunity, ability to move forward if you take it, and all the way down to colors. We have the Two of Coins, the Gymnast. I was a gymnast. I like that there's cards I specifically relate to in my own personal ways within a deck. And people might be thinking there's always something, but that's not always been my experience. Anyway, and that careful balance and consideration of movement to keep everything working in harmony to do these feats. And we have a teacher and a chalkboard to remind us of the practice and the patience and the learning and the need of a teacher, of somebody who is knowledgeable through plenty of their own learning and accreditation to teach us. And we have the Four of Coins, where we have, you know, the pentacles, and they're on a necklace, and the symbolism is gotten into in this, that it's a necklace because those are prominent pieces of jewelry we wear to really show off. The idea of chains hanging around our necks, which gives us that Four of Coins symbolism, as does it being on a display case, on a display stand, probably in a case, protected and secured and held back, as opposed to actually being used for the whole purpose of showing it off. And we have the Five of Coins, and the symbolism of using, of putting the Five of Coins in the snow and in the winter was brilliant. I loved it. I'm going to find it and share it. During a harsh winter, snow can be brutal. It's difficult to move forward. Bitter cold, and covers the ground, making what was once familiar unrecognizable. The person's completely covered, which symbolizes the attempt to protect from struggle or rough time. Brilliant. I am so thrilled to see this over like a woman crying over her spilled coins. As much as I love a gift over charity, for so many reasons. Charity is so often so harmful, and gifting, if done properly, is not. And I got this as soon as I saw it, and the words reflected what I was seeing. Growing a potato plant, you have no idea what your harvest is going to be. You have no anticipation. It's even hard to tell from the size of the plant how many potatoes you are going to get from that plant. You have to trust that you have worked hard and done your job well to reap these rewards come harvest, which is what you have to wait for. And then we have the 8 of Coins, which is a sketchbook symbolizing that need to practice and practice and practice to get it right and to be a master of something. And the 9 of Coins is a Barbie because they're wrapped in boxes individually. Attention is paid to everything. There is symbolism in every aspect of this Barbie, from the houndstooth to the, gold chain belt with the pentacles in it. And like I said, detail is consistent, and in the 10 of Coins, we see all these varying shades of hues and reflection, even in here and in the windows, and that glow in the sky, and we know what those mean throughout the deck. And so we pick it up really easily over and over again. And then we have the Page of Coins. The ribbon is small, reminding us of, smaller youthfulness. Plus, these are the ribbons I remember you usually get when you're at the school level sports. That's what you get, in your youth. When you accomplish something, you get a ribbon or something like that. Sorry. Plugging in my phone. Except it didn't plug in. Okay. And, symbolism into the color. Green is, that growth and that in finances and creativity and all of that. And the brilliance of this Knight card. Oh my goodness. The brilliance of the Knight card for the Knight of Coins. So the Knight of Coins is someone who moves slowly with purpose, but it's going to get done. And so we see a galaxy within the arm and hand of the Knight of Coins, because you know what? Some things take light years, but that Knight of Coins, they can do that. They can handle that. They can make it through that. So we have the Queen and King of Coins, and so they are, pieces of art within a gallery, because that is valuable and prestigious and all of that. And the artist Krystal Banner has made their own art pieces that are inspired on well-known black artists, Kehinde Wiley, I hope I said that right, and Jean-Michel Basquiat, and we see their styles represented, and how perfect a choice, because we have the crown and a king, and everything is detailed, everything that they wear, the color choices, the artist choices, it's all on purpose. When we get to the wands, and look at the shade of orange, because orange is in that red spectrum that we think of with fire, and it's different than red. It's that creative passion and all of that, and we will see it consistently throughout wands in those cards where that's what it really needs to be. Sorry, I had this light set, and then the need to hold this closer is shadowing me, and sorry. Okay, and then we have the Two of Wands. So with the Two of Wands, we have the black and white, two very different choices, lilies and roses, and you are going to have to decide on that path. And then we get the Three of Wands, where you are looking out at the horizon, at that journey before you in depth and color, and the meanings within that, again, it's repeated, it's consistent. We have the Four of Wands. This is one I believe I want to bring up also. Palm trees, the flagship tree of many tropical islands, which is associated with a time of relaxation, celebration, or vacation. There are 4 palm trees which create a visual 1111, symbolizing synchronicity or a soulmate connection. Brilliant! Brilliant, right? And like, you're going to remember that every time you look at the card. You're not going to have to pull out the guidebook every time to see that. It's brilliant. But I wanted to get the wording because that was more brilliant than what I was going to do. And the 5 of Wands, and we have 5 torches, and that can often represent mom mentalities, but we have this one that's in between the two, and so it's not necessarily an all-out war yet. That's what Krystal Banner points out in the book. And the 6 of Wands, again, brilliant symbolism. We have 6 wands in the sky forming 6 wand constellations. While those are actual constellations, the symbolism is constellations and how recognizable they are. Like, they are the victors and heroes of great stories, all of that. And the 7 of Wands, this is part of an obstacle course, which reminds us in that 7 of Wands that, like, you're going to climb up and over multiple obstacles, and you've come this far, and you know you can keep going. The 8 of Wands, the 8 wands are on a racetrack because of the speed and precision and how fast and on target all of that is going to be. The 9 of Wands is a wooden fence, which we imagine is being handmade, and the symbolism in that, but how it's an act of defensiveness and protection, and it can be both those things. The 10 of Wands, we've got these 10 books, and you know that is awesome and wonderful, unless, like, you know, there's all these ongoing activities you could be managing. They are towering over him, covering his face to symbolize how much of a burden this can be. It's an opportune time to reevaluate what's important and restore your vision to have a clearer, less stressful path forward. Yeah, just tackle 1 or 2 of those books for now and then come back for the rest. And so for the Page of Wands, we have, you know, a wand toy, and it's packaged and brand new and shiny, right? And so again, this is just all the brilliance that we see in all of this. And here we have a shadow. Is this one that's a shadow of a hand? Yep. Shadow hands. Shadows can appear out of nowhere and disappear just as fast. This symbolizes the knight's tendency to enter quickly but not stay long. And then we have a carnelian wand, and so we have this symbolism in here too. And then again, we have the colors and the hues. And we have them in the Queen and King of Wands, and you know, that creative passion, and we see like the flip sides of them in each other, how they relate to each other, and you know, are each other's strengths and weaknesses, differences and complements. The Ace of Swords is fiery hot to slice and cut through everything that they need to. The Fencer's choice of weapon is a sword representing the suit. The battles are referred to as duels. This portrays the mental duel at the time, and a duel is also a homophone for duel, symbolizing the 2 swords or options. And this play on words and use of homophones is used throughout the suit of swords, the suit of communication and intelligence and how we use our words and all of that. And, you know, that's just brilliant. That's just brilliant. And so then we have the 3 of Swords, and we have 3 push pins, and they are piercing the balloon. And, you know, that brings in that different symbolism in the words piercing, and that is often how that that really feels. The color and the serenity of the 4 of Swords, and like the sun is glowing behind their head as it sets. It's all of it. Retreat, the sun is sets. It appears as though it's retreating or going into hibernation. The Five of Swords is a scoreboard, the home and the guest, and the discussion of like, is this really a win to be celebrating? The attitudes and things that come out when you have this like crushing defeat of your opponent going on. Especially when it's on your home turf. Their folks aren't there to help cheer them on and encourage them, which is why home teams win more often. And we have a moving truck for the Six of Swords. For that moving on. For the Seven of Swords, we have a ski mask. And again, I know there was like use of words in here. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, so the colors are in black and gold for the Pittsburgh Steelers, the steel of the sword, and the steel of the Seven of Swords. And we have a mannequin for the Eight of Swords because, like, you can feel like you're in an immovable place and you're trapped and you can't do anything about it, like as if you were a mannequin. The Nine of Swords is a bust because you carry that anxiety and that worry in your shoulders as well as in your head, and that's why the swords are in the brain. The Ten of Swords is tallies and writings on the wall, and that extra pain, that extra like dramatic use of having a samurai sword. And so we have the Page of Swords, which is a Lego guy for the youth, but also because, remember, we've all learned from Lego in the Lego movies that, they can build anything. They can build homes, cars, planes, which represent an aspect of property, career, and travel. And the Knight of Swords, we see the armor and the protection again, and their arm has their sword raised, so it's going off, it's cut off, and this is because the Knight of Swords tends to rush into things. They've rushed into this picture and not even gotten their whole sword into the picture. And then we have the Queen and the King, and we have slight hue differences, and they are in outlines. The line drawing exemplifies a stripping away of everything extra to focus on the truth, even if it hurts. It symbolizes confidence, straightforwardness, and lone strength. In the King, the line drawing represents power and simplicity. It symbolizes confidence, authority, and strength. And that is the gorgeous, the beautiful, everything about it is beautiful. The feel of it's matte and it feels softer than my other matte cards. It's really, really gorgeous. I'll attempt to shuffle this way with my extra small hands. Seriously, I wear so I don't usually shuffle this way. It's totally is shuffleable. I'm not going to try and do it because my hands can't. But it is going to shuffle perfectly for me in the ways I like to shuffle. The cards are probably perfectly flexible for you to do that if, you don't wear children's mitts and shoes. I don't know how I pulled it off the other day. I'm just going to stop trying. You can watch other reviewers to see how well it rifle shuffles. I can rifle shuffle a pocket deck. And this is just a beautiful deck. Just absolutely beyond gorgeous. And you can get it at, it is www.kaleidadope.com. I am almost absolutely certain. Go find your copy. See y'all later, folks.